Hi everyone, Kara Lovehart here. We're back again with another interview from one of our vendors for the New Visions Holistic Expo. And this particular vendor has a huge impact on your experience at this show. Not only your experience seeing the event and going maybe viewing some of the guests on the website for our vendors, but this guest today is also one of our sponsors, and it is Chris Rapillo of Rapillo Creative. And Chris is a colleague of mine and my right-hand guy for supporting not just Firefly Hollow. We got New Visions Books and Gifts and the New Visions Expo. So really up-leveling the business and our way that we can present to you so you know what all the cool things are. So I'm going to bring on Chris and we're going to interview him today and ask a little bit about where he came from, his background, and also share some really cool things that we have in store for you to see a little bit about his work and his background.
Hey, Kara.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm really actually excited to share with everyone what we've been doing because I know that we've been working so much in the background over the last couple years with just everything with marketing and the website. And a lot of people who don't own a business, this may not necessarily be interesting to them, but it's interesting as far as how we take a concept like Firefly Hollow, New Visions, and the Expo and make it presentable and really deliver it in a way that people can receive it and then attend this amazing event. So I'd love to first share what you do now with your work, what your business is, Rapillo Creative, and then I'd like to talk a little bit more about your background and where you came from and how you got to where you're at.
Sure. My name's Chris Rapillo. I own Rapillo Creative. I just started this up after about 20 years working in the industry. And I really was just finding that I had all these skills that I really wanted to incorporate, and I could really do that better under one entity than maybe working for one company that has a certain path or trajectory. And I felt like I was in more of the driver's seat. So I started Rapillo Creative and then just been kind of like building my own portfolio over the last couple of years and working on basically stuff with you and the expo and really trying to evolve where you guys have been because short story is I actually came into contact with New Visions Books almost 20 years ago when I was 21, I guess. And I remember going into New Visions Books for one of the Friday night forums, of course, because it was awesome. And I remember seeing Bill running back and forth through the building. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I need to update the website. And I was like after each sale? And he's like, uh-huh. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, there's places we can do things with your website that make it a little bit more functional for you. So that way you could like edit this from home and you wouldn't have to be so like tied to your computer at the store, which she was like locked in that room whenever things were happening. So that really was like my first step into this career that I have. And at that point, I'd already been an artist. I'd been painting and a muralist, and I'm actually out from Illinois. Is where I graduated high school and stuff like that. Then I came back home and did college here in PA. But yeah, so it's been a long journey to kind of get to this. And over the last, 2 years, I've been trying to take the vendor system that you guys have had from paper to digital and kind of just, I'm trying to make this a little more like functional in terms of not too much paperwork for everybody. And I can't imagine maintaining 100 different vendors and 100 different contracts and the things that could go wrong during that. So over the last couple of years, I've been trying to develop with the data that we got from the first year, a way to make the vendor system better. So this is our first year of renewals. So I understand everybody that's watching that might be a vendor is that I understand that some of it's chaotic because I'm trying to learn and like really kind of shape it into a much more clean approach. So you'll see that I'm working on it constantly, but a lot of that's through donation because I just want to support you guys. And a lot of it's just, how could I improve this? So that's basically been what I've been doing for the expo and New Visions. And then with you, I just happened into the store the one day and you were sitting there behind the desk and you had asked me what I do because I was working with Bill at the time. And I was mentioning I do websites and videography and basically multimedia interactive design, which covers everything from like websites to brochures and a whole branding identity package, things like that. So I find like I usually come into a business when it's needed. I almost never used business cards in my life before. So it's kind of weird. Like serendipity has been like the way that I've gotten clients. So coming in and then just connecting for that couple minutes we had together. And then I think later you reached out and said, "Hey, I need some help with this website." And you did.
Yeah, I had a
And
horrible website. Firefly
it
Hollow
was
had
a
the worst website.
it was a Wix website, and it um, felt very congested. And I was like,
Mhm.
but you were the problem with you were the good problem to have as a client, where someone produces so much content versus someone who doesn't produce anything. So it was great because I was able to just like, we just need to trim the fat a little bit, and kind of took that approach and gave you this very zen spa like feeling. And we'll cover your website in a little bit here, but I just want to kind of cover the bases there. So does
Yeah,
that answer
you're a
your
jack
question?
of all trades. I feel like you're a jack of all trades. Since I've worked with you, then I find out, wait, you're a muralist. Wait, you do audio and video stuff. Wait a minute, it was this whole learning and understanding. Like, I really would love to like use that. We need that. So I think that from the perspective of someone who doesn't own a business, it's really so beneficial to have a website, right? Because people go to you for a website because they want to know who you are, and the visibility of your website being able to show up on Google. Like, you could search for something and you
Yeah,
don't see it. There's so many aspects to what you do that, unless someone runs a business, they're not aware of how important a website and even being able to register or sign up or schedule or you know pay for products. There's so much aspect to that I think that the gratitude to you that when you're working behind the scenes like this, you maybe not be in our clinic and come to our expo every year and know the impact that makes, the impact that someone who comes in who's at our clinic right now getting a massage, and the stress of their work or their spouse or their children is just coming off of them because one simple website allowed them to schedule and book a massage or a Reiki session or a life-changing astrology session or reading, right? And then say that
right.
expo too. So like the impact of what you do is so big, and we're presenting it in a way that helps us be credible, professional, and showing our line and our quality and standards of what we offer. And I think that that's been foundational. So anyone out there that's been to Firefly Hollow, that's been to New Visions books, been to an event, these are all workings of your work, being able to make it functional.
Oh, I love the new site that I did for New Visions. So 20 years ago, I did the original site, and I was so extra back then. Like I had this, and Bill loved it. And I think that's why I connected with him, because he was very much like me, like, let's make it glamorous. So this is back when we're using Flash. This is 20 years ago. And I made this intro animation where it cycled through you help me with this, the circle with all of the astrological signs. So it was an astrological wheel, and he was just so like, and enthralled with it. So it
Yeah,
just
it
made me
lit up and
yeah.
it spun. I remember when he first showed me it, I was like, that's amazing. And this was like before a lot of websites had animation.
Yes, and I've always been someone that like, what you get when you look for someone who does a website, you should like really look at their craft, right?
Their
So
portfolio or something that
yeah.
they've
So
yeah.
if someone's giving you websites and they all kind of look like they could be the same template, they haven't really addressed you as a client, because what's happening is, let me see what I could fill in these pockets with your information, versus someone who takes your data and your information, aggregates it, and then filters through it and says, okay, what's the most useful things here? And if you have an understanding of SEO, you have an understanding of marketing, you can take that background and really craft um, the way that your business looks to the world. And for me, um, if your website doesn't look good, it's a bad impression on you, even if you're not a bad business.
Yes.
So if you go to your website on mobile and it's blown apart and people aren't coming back, and that's something I see a lot of people like, oh, I can just go on Wix, I can do it. Or, okay, you can. But you get the results that you have the understanding for. And it's not always good to manage everything as a business owner, right? So having someone with expertise that can manage those things for you can take the stress off you. Because I mean, if I were to ask you like, hey, could you code me a page today? You'd be like, I can attune you, but like it's not your strong suit, right? So business owners have so many threads they have to pull on all day. So having someone that can be like, let me take care of this for you. What do we need to happen this week or this month? What's important to you? What are your values? And let's craft things for that really make you soar. And that's kind of what I'm into. Like I tend to listen a lot when I'm meeting someone about their project and what's important to them. And I'm also picking up like subliminal data from them. Like they may say one thing, but this could actually be reapproached in a certain way, and they may not have thought that way. So I don't know. I tend to take that approach with things, kind of like
You're very
problem
highly
solving.
intuitive, and I know so many times I'm like, "You completely read my mind, and you just know exactly what I want," and I think that that's a really that's not necessarily it's a skill set, but it also is something that's just a natural just something you have. And I think that's really important when you're working with any professional. If they have the art form of what they do, the logic and the training, and then they combine them together, then they can do an amazing quality, excellent service and service providing, and then that interaction from
Yeah.
a
I
person
also,
perspective.
do you also feel this way? Like if your website looks badass, like you want to show it to people. You ever see people that are like, do you have a website? And they're like, I have a Facebook page, or I have this that I tried, or my nephew did it off YouTube. It's very, and I don't knock that because I was a school of the YouTuber before I went to school. So that kind of led me into that. But I think it's important to understand that what you have on as digital marketing is really like a unpaid employee that's there for you 24 hours a day, that no matter who happens upon your website, it's going to lead them in a place where you feel, okay, I feel like this represents my company well enough that if they hit my website up at 3 a.m., I don't really care because they're going to have the great experience they had at, another situation. So I don't know if that made sense, but
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I will give the New Visions books website as an example. So, New Visions has been around for 38 years. And we have seen within the last decade more and more metaphysical bookstores open and online bookstores or online crystal shops. And because of that, you had helped in a tremendous way because if someone had never been into the community, into the bookstore, and seen the amazing, like just what it is, they have maybe gone to that website. And before you updated the website, it looked like a website from the 90s or the 80s, maybe 90s, I don't know. It was old looking and it didn't
yeah.
really present what it's like being in the store. And
Yeah,
and especially other
100%.
businesses that have popped up, you're like, "Oh, well that's cool. There's all these amazing shops opening, which is great." But then when you look at that, I've never been to Fire or to New Visions, you don't see the extent of all the products they have and everything. It was a like one page and it was
Yeah.
something that was not from you. It was actually from the upkeep that the owners were doing and Matt as well, that were just very simple, that weren't using your flair, your background, your understanding and knowledge so that it made it really be that employee that they're not paying. So that first person that comes to the website, they're like, oh, I really want to come here
Yeah.
versus, I don't know, this website doesn't look right. And I felt for years looking at it, I was like, this really needs done because it's not giving justice to the amazing, quality of this store.
Yeah. And so I initially did the revision from the 20-year-old site to the newer one, and that was designed. But I had trained Bill on the website, and basically it just became like a bulletin board, and which is fine because you're able to put things up, but it can get very extensive and overwhelming. So I kind of did the same thing. I took a new approach after Bill had passed, and reconnected with Bob and Matt and everything, and just kind of like understanding like what needs to happen here is that um, obviously if you know Bob from New Visions, he's not the most technical person, and he's more earthbound, you know what I mean? So having someone that can handle that, like Matt, is great because he has my connect for the business and says, like, this is what needs to happen. I just have to make it look good and also be functional. So one of the things we did was really just I took a step back and I was like, okay, so what did I love about the original site that this one isn't giving me anymore? And it was the attention to detail and the fact that we're in a playground where we're dealing with the metaphysical properties and things like that. And as a background as like sci-fi fantasy artists, and I love playing with anything like that. So I was able to kind of like experiment with this website and give it this vibe that, just little things like having a moon phase on the front of the website that people can be like, oh, you get this very esoteric feeling just by going there.
Yeah. Well, I would love to share actually some of the work you've done now, because even if someone comes to the event, to the expo, they may be really interested in connecting with you to see if you're a right fit for them for anything. It could be creating a logo, a business card, a brochure. I'm going to share some of these really beautiful QR code things you made that were made out of wood. And but also, if you don't own a business, you have some really beautiful artwork that you made that you will have a booth that you'll be sharing everything. So I'd love to share that, and we could do a screen share here and let people know what you're up to and what you'll be presenting, because you have so much to offer.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
keep myself
do.
busy. I very rarely sleep, so I just keep busy. So
So if you want to share a little bit about what you have, and we can definitely, I'm going to put this in the, everyone can, of course, learn more about this for the website for you. It's rapillocreative.com, but share a little bit about here briefly what we can learn about on your website.
yeah, so my website's basically a clean, modern look at some of the services I offer, and some blog posts about things that I've done. I actually have a most recent post about the New Visions Expo, designing the expo website, things like that. I'm trying to be really thoughtful about how I push content out and how I talk about it. So I've been really useful with I've been not useful, but I've been very thoughtful with how I represent my work and taking the time for myself to write about it. So that's something I've been focusing on. I've been doing a lot of, startup businesses or reformatting of businesses. Recently, I recently did a lawn and landscape company that were just kind of like blown out of the water. Because where I'm at, I don't know why, but there's like this tendency for everything to look like it died in 1992. So I was like, let's give you a website. So one of the things you could do is recently I just did video work for you, but some of my services are graphic and web design, project management. I do all sorts of development projects and database, and even some AI stuff like generating GPTs for people that will do things for their business, for them, like give them a tone. Because a lot of people understand that AI is out there, but they don't understand how to prompt uh,
Yeah.
to get a response back that would be useful for their company. Now, that might
Yes.
feel like it's taking work out of my hands, but usually if the client doesn't have time for it, they'll just give me the work. But if they have something that they can maintain and it's low cost to them,
Yes.
that helps me keep their website updated with things that they want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that that is a very powerful thing that people want to know about AI. They want to know how they can use it for their business, and they want to know how they can use it in a way that supports their, it's low cost, like you said. And if you understand how to use it, you're like, wow, this is really cool. I've been talking to peaceful people recently that have just discovered little simple things they can do with AI. They're like, I didn't even think that. And I'm like, yeah, this is really, really something that you've taught me a little bit about. And I really, really value that. But
If
I
you go
wanna
to
share, if you're interested, I would love to share. Can we share about your Touched by Fire stuff? Unless
Oh,
you have anything else
absolutely.
to say.
Yeah. So I started out in fine art, painting and murals, and out in Illinois, I was doing murals there, and a lot of religious work. Even though I'm like very open minded, did a lot of church work and paintings in there, and um, I always seem to be drawn to supernatural beings and things like that. So whether it be angels or whatever, just using those as a muse is very interesting to me. So
So
um,
this is your work, and I don't know if you have a particular thing you want to click on to show, because you had, and you guys can follow Chris on touch_by_fire_studios on Instagram. I can put this in the comments too.
yeah, that would be great. If you click on the reels, it's probably a better representation because they'll give you a quick overview. But if you click on the first one there, this is a chalk angel that I did, and you can see here that I'm just playing with camera shots because I'm also doing videography with it. That's the thing I've really gotten into because I've been on social media for probably about 15 years. It was overwhelming to me at one point, and now I feel like I've really gotten a hone of it. So I feel like I'm doing more. I do a lot of work for people on social media, but I just never really had my own thing, and I never really showed my work off. I don't know. It's just
It's amazing. You know what? I have to say this. There are so many people that I know that are so talented and gifted, and they don't have the shine, or they don't allow themselves to shine. So like this is like when of course you're like, "Oh wow, we're going to show you the websites too," but you're like, me, I'm like, I've never seen this side of your work. I've seen your videography and all the stuff you've done with us. And I was like, this is incredible.
If you
Which
scroll
would you like to
down,
share next?
if you click on the alchemy, so I started doing these paintings in my house, and it's just been so much fun to get back into painting. Once I went to school, it was kind of like I drew back from that because, everything's work related and everything's creativity already. So I feel very fulfilled, but I also lose that ability to have that physical art that I'm so drawn to, which is very much earth centered, um, I feel like when my hand connects with something, a piece of canvas or chalk or clay or
Yeah.
whatever, um, I just like to have that human experience with it. And I take that approach into my digital work too. So that's a very interesting background to have, is that someone that could, paint a mural or do a painting, things like that. And if you click on the next one, this is pyrography, which is something that I kind of just picked up. Um, and I do portraits and
What is
custom.
it? Tell us what pyrography is in case someone doesn't know.
Yeah, so pyrography is wood burning, and so you're basically drawing with fire, and that kind of like where Touched by Fire came from, and also a backstory that I have. But like, I feel like it's a no net kind of art, right? So if I burn something badly enough, it's gone. So it really focuses your mind into, I need to be here in this moment. I don't know where my phone is. I don't care. Um,
Yes.
Usually I have to tell myself to take pictures of stuff because I'll usually be like, shit, I just did all that and I didn't film it. Sorry for the curse words.
Yeah,
But
no, that's okay.
uh so I just been trying to focus on taking pictures of this work, and had some clients, do private orders from me and stuff like that. So I've been building up that as well. And that was been more of like a healing thing. This whole project has been, I had a really bad injury about a year ago and I broke my arm in a couple places and hurt my labrums, tore them in my hips through a fall. So I was kind of like one arm, so I was like, what can I do sitting on this couch? I can grab a wood burner and I
Yeah.
can burn stuff, and not hopefully ingest the smoke. But if you go down further, I've done a lot of like very themed things for this expo because we're dealing with people that are very into spirituality and things like that. So this is a piece that I designed, and then I have a laser cutter, and then I printed the laser cutout, and then did the cropping and all the painting underneath because I'm like obsessive about stuff. I'm also obsessed with the movie The Craft, if you haven't figured it out yet. But
Oh, that's cool. So
um,
this here is something that I thought was really awesome that you did too for us, and you do pieces for people's brands too. In
yeah, actually, I have a piece. This is the one that I just did for myself, to keep on my tabletop, and
That's so
so
beautiful.
it's done with a metal finish. So it's got to be shellacked yet. So there's still some work to do, and it's not fully glued up yet. But it's very interesting, like to just be able to know that I can sit at an Illustrator and design something that can be 3D is like way too much for my brain. It keeps me up at
Yeah.
night. I'm like, what could I print today? So it's been really interesting. But yeah, so a lot of these things are um, boxes. I started off doing boxes, and um, you know, I'm really I'm not really limited by like the type of subject. Like it could be an animal, it could be a person, it could be something that doesn't exist. Um, I just have always been like geared to like figure it out. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Also been doing some like interesting laser cuts and multiple layer paintings. So things like
That's
this.
amazing.
I'm trying to gear most of this work towards the expo and kind of having a supernatural or spiritual vibe because I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Do custom boxes that, have their own feet. And yeah, so I'm just kind of thinking about also like my brain's racked about like how I'm going to decorate the
The
booth.
booth. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so fun. That's so
So
fun.
I feel like I'm going to be running to Michael's like, crazy person. So that's going to be interesting.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like everyone should definitely follow you because then they could see more and then they could get an idea. Even more like if you are really looking for something custom, You do that, and then even just the stuff you have that'll be on sale. And are you going to be doing an Etsy shop or anything like that? Or are you just doing custom pieces?
Well, actually, because I'm a developer, I'm going to build my own website. So
Well, that makes more sense, doesn't it?
that's actually in because like Etsy is great, but it's also they take a large portion of your art from you, and then a lot of stuff on Etsy has gotten to be like not so handmade anymore. So I'm just kind of taking an approach like let me just kick it my way. You know what I mean? And
That's great.
and and then I can promote that as I need to, and spend some energy on it when I can. And I've also been getting clients for portrait work and things like that. But it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, you are totally busy and jack of all trades, which is one of the things I really love. Because you're dynamic like me. We're dynamic people. So I would love to share the website, and we can go maybe 2 minutes talking about each of these guys. All right, so
Yeah. So
here's the website, which I'm such a fan.
yeah. So when we met up originally, you're like, I need help, and I was like, okay, well, let's look at it. And you had a Wix site up, and it was like kind of just everything everywhere, but you had great content. So I knew that I was working with someone that I could really count on to be um, thoughtful about the content. So most of the times the problem is like, how do I get something from a stone? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give you anything. Here's my business, figure it out. But when a client engages with me, they get a better result. And I think that's what this is. It's really a beautiful design. And it was something that I tend to gear towards what you're doing. So even though it's a spa pampered vibe, still has this feeling of spirituality. And as you get lower, I tend to use nature in my work. So like right here, just the use of texture, an icon and structure and typography just can really make a website beautiful. And you think of websites as data, 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 but the experience matters almost as much, if not more, because it's kind of like watching a video with bad audio. You can't watch it,
Yeah.
so it's a matter of that. So as you've gone and over the years, as you've added new products, we've developed that kind of stuff. And that's really fun for me because you always give me a curveball, and anything for my brain that's different is great. So yeah, so we spent some time just working on incorporating APIs that you use, and working in the database to make sure that we're developing structures. So that way, when Google looks at your website, it sees, oh, she's posting, we've got fresh content. How can we get the homepage to look different? We're doing that with posts and time-based formats. So I
Yeah,
think
and
that
I think it was challenging because we have so many services. So helping us to not only put it up here in the menu, but to make it clear if someone's just like, wow, there's a lot here. Oh, okay, I can now see here and maybe go into each of these and click and then go further into the website. Because it is, you could go and even just looking at our events, or even our yoga classes or continuing education classes, there is a lot that we have. And that was my challenge of like, how do
do you,
we
do you remember this
not make
menu
this.
before?
Oh my gosh, this menu was too much. There was way too
I think it
much.
was like 3 lines.
Yeah,
So
there was so much.
that's where I come in and like say, you like, I have all these ideas. And I'm like, well, let me trim them down and get them into their buckets. And then let's start from now that we've got this organized, let's take that data and do something with it. So that's
Yeah,
been very, I think, helpful for your website and probably for your visitors, because it's not so overwhelming, everything in its place.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, do you
I'm
wanna
really
look at
proud
the
of you.
expo website?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So
so I'm just going to share first off, when we inherited the expo, we've been helping Bob with it for 8 years before he said, I'm 70 now, I don't want to do it. And we were sending paper forms in the mail to all the vendors, and then they would send them all back to us. And then we would scan the information, we'd take off their websites, and put them on the website. We'd have them email us, or we'd have to chase down them to email us their logos, their photos. And that's a very time consuming thing because we want to represent the vendors. We want everyone to be seen. And it was a lot chasing after, and especially when we moved the event from, more than 70 vendors, which Bob had in the past. So you not only helped us with this website to get the vendors an easy process to get signed up, apply, and even pay and sign their contract online, but also for the guests. Like once these vendors sign up and they're done, they're easily already on the website so that all our guests can see all the cool people that are coming.
yes.
So
Yeah, I think this was this was very challenging in a way because I had to deal with 20 years of information um, from basically the last couple years contracts, and I had to kind of take the contract in and um, there's so much. And so the first year probably feels overwhelming because you're just taking in the data. The next year we have a renewal system. So that's pushing out the data to a new form. And how does this all integrate? And how can it be useful? And how can we give vendors a sense of control over the things that get represented on the site? And also make it useful for you that when you do promotion, you can simply go to the website, pull a vendor off, and create their Instagram post because you have all their data. So this next year that we go into this will really just be the polishing phase, because now that I've gotten through the first contract and the renewals and all the hiccups that happen in between that, which is, I apologize to anybody who had chaos because it's been chaos.
I think it
But,
was very few, Chris. It was very few people.
well, I just put it out there because I feel bad about anything that has a bad experience. So
Yeah.
that's just my soul. So yeah, so basically within the first 2 years, I was able to get the contract, the renewal system, a speaking system. All of these things were built from scratch, as to not incur these exorbitant fees that, if you were to put your website on Eventbrite, we use that for ticketing. But if you were to host it and do everything through Eventbrite, they take a large portion of the proceeds. And, this is where investing in your company will pay in dividends.
Yeah.
So, because you took the energy to invest in this project, it's probably taken hours and hours and hours off your plate,
Yes.
so that you can do the better parts, the things that your energy is for.
Like find cool speakers to come in and find
Yes.
people from out of town. And like that's my I'm excited to make the show better and experience better for everybody every year. And now I have more time to actually do that.
That's great. Yeah. So the also thing that I did is last year I came to the event, not as a vendor, but I wanted to gather a video. And so one thing I did for this expo was create this video and kept it short, under 2 minutes. That really just represents what Bob and Bill built over all those years, and now you guys maintain. And I have this fear of, like, if we don't do these things now, like, will that be lost? So I just want to, by engaging in this way and like really like reformatting and giving you guys an easier way to do this, I think that continues the expo. It continues
Yeah.
these community experiences. And
Yeah, so we have this is the main page, the main, where our sponsors are listed, featured vendors that when we feature on the main page, and then some beautiful pictures of the event and even some beautiful animations that you made that are, supporting Firefly and even just pointing back to New Visions too. But I wanted to just share with everybody. I don't know if the sound will work on here for the video that you created. Um,
if you click on the audio, you might get it.
can you hear it?
I can, but I think it's coming through your microphone.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it up because sometimes it doesn't play.
For over 20 years, the Expo has been the largest and longest running holistic event in South Central PA. Founded by New Visions Books and Gifts, a York-based metaphysical store approaching 40 years in business, this event has grown from humble beginnings into a vibrant gathering of holistic enthusiasts and practitioners. Explore over 100 vendors offering a wide range of holistic products and services, from natural health products, organic skincare, and herbal remedies, to crystals, jewelry, and more. Engage with expert practitioners in chiropractic care, massage, Reiki, and various forms of energy medicine. Experience transformative readings, including tarot, astrology, mediumship, and more. Attend free lectures and workshops led by renowned speakers, covering topics from medical astrology and pain-free living to sound meditation and energy clearing. Connect with like-minded individuals passionate about holistic health and wellness. Rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit in our relaxation areas. Enjoy delicious food and beverages with healthy, vegan, and gluten-free options. Become a VIP member for early access, exclusive discounts, and a swag bag filled with holistic goodies. Don't miss the chance to be part of this uplifting community event. Join us at the New Visions Holistic Expo. Visit newvisionsholisticexpo.com for more information and to purchase your tickets. See you there.
Elevate your business. So that's definitely elevated everything so much. We've had a lot of vendors we've tried to convince to come for years that maybe have not been to our show. There's a lot of expos that have popped up that are newer, that don't have as much traffic, that don't have as much history, or maybe just aren't as organized yet or something. And these vendors have gone to these shows and had, they've just been disappointed with the traffic for their business or whatever. And so we've been trying to tell people, hey, we have a really big show. Like, seriously, don't just take our word for it. Here's our event, here's our video now. And I think that's helped us tremendously, even with particular sponsors that maybe not take us seriously, because there's a lot of people that have shows out there. This one's been 22 years this year. So we want everyone to be successful. We want all these shows to do well, but we know that some of the vendors have been apprehensive, and even the sponsors. So this video, not only for the guests who maybe even on the fence about coming, or like, what is that show? It gives you an idea of what everything is there. And I almost cried when I was crying when I saw this, because I said, this is exactly what I've been trying to not just represent with the show, but also helping people understand and see the vibe of what's there. And so that if they're feeling like this is for them, they can come.
Well, thank you. It's great that it was moving you. And that's kind of what I went through it. And I kind of just wanted to have this vibe that you get when you're there. There's a lot of spreads of video in there, and video is really the best way to share an experience outside of being there, because you can kind of pick up the atmosphere, the use of animation and sequencing, and how you place things also sends the energy in the right direction. And we just need to get this out there and have people see some experience before they buy a ticket. So we didn't have that before. We had some short videos before that were kind of put together, but nothing produced. So this was a production, and, coming to gather all that video and do interviews and things like that. So even more of this will trail out, because I got like 1.5 terabytes of data from the expo the first time. So, and not to mention the New Vision store. And, yeah, so there's a lot of creative things that are going to keep flying out. And I'm just excited to be part of the expo this year and get to actually be on the ground with people and get to talk to people, because it's different when you're interviewing people versus just saying hi. So
yeah,
I look
absolutely.
forward to that.
Yeah. And I'd love to just quickly share the New Visions books page that you just did.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that this feature is so cool. I know this seems silly, but some people are like, wait, this changes? This moon cycle changes here. So we're almost at a full moon. So whenever you visit the New Vision site, you're going to see this. And I love that when we're open, the eyeballs open, and when it's closed, the eyeballs shut. Like, these are like little tiny things that are not just tiny. They make a huge difference in just the way that you created this photo and the vibe of it, the color scheme, representing the history of the store, letting people know more about some of the classes, the connection with Firefly with the online Friday night forums. And you can directly sign up here now, which is really easy, because people were getting confused that, yes, Friday night forums are hosted by Firefly because Bob doesn't want to run them anymore, but they're actually located at New Visions because there's more parking there than at Firefly. So people will go on New Firefly Hollow's website, and they can still do so to sign up for these, but they were confused why they can't go into the New Vision site. So you can actually connected these so that people sign up, it goes to our scheduling software for Firefly, and because we're kind of partnered in that way. And then this feature of the guidance for the tarot card which is pretty awesome. So share with us what you'd like to share on here.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things about this website I love. First off, is I had a very interesting problem with this, is that some things you guys manage, it's Firefly Hollow, and some things New Visions deals with, some things Matt specifically takes care of. So it's a matter of, like, how do I integrate everybody together and get them so that get the information presented in such a way that when you click on something, it's taking you not too far away, because I want you to all feel synchronized in a way, because you are connected. So that's been a lot of the work in terms of the technology. But for me, like, I wanted this website to have the vibe of walking into the door and hearing the bells chime. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but like, I always picture that about New Visions as like this, this bookstore that's kind of got this, I don't know if you were like a big Buffy fan, but like the fact that I used to hang out in the library all the time, I used to be a library aide, so I'm kind of nerdy, but I just wanted it to have this spiritual essence, and also like, when you land on this first image where you are. So I think that was very important to me. And then also just really stylizing. You can click through some of these other separate pages, and I've designed every one of them. I've also done all the logo work for New Visions.
Yes.
So originally it was a piece of clip art, and but now you have these really engaging pages that you can interact with. And the website before didn't really have interactivity. It was basically, this is what's going on. How do I engage? But really just taking their old photos, having to clean some of them up. I love that image of Bill, just trying to make sure he's present because he's still in that bookstore,
Yeah.
and Bob carries all that weight, and Bill's energy is, I'm sure, there to help. Yeah. So then you can see your integration, join our community. That's with the Friday night forums, and connected to the Firefly Hollow. As you go through these, they have different pages about, like you go to open houses, and you'll see that I've designed this to be very engaging. Page 2, you see what's coming up. June 22nd, we have an open house, Oktoberfest and Holiday Magic, and as you go through this, you see that the practitioners are listed there. I did these cutouts too. I don't know if you saw those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've just been kind of like trying to make the website more functional and work well responsively. Yeah, so a lot of these pages are just musings really for me, because I can go at like 11 o'clock at night and just go into like a spin, and I'm like, what could I create? How could I make this site look awesome, function awesome, and really just serve Bob, and the news in the bookstore, and what they've been for York forever,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just interesting to have this full circle moment 20 years later, and really give them a website that it just speaks.
Yeah. Well, I think that you have so much value to offer anyone, no matter what their level of business is. If they're starting out, if they're new, or if there's someone that doesn't have a business, they want a custom piece, or they want a mural, or they want something done for a birthday present. It's so many things that you have. And I think that your passion for creating and making an impact with what you create is what makes you very special and unique. And I'm really grateful to continue to get to work with you, and that you're going to be at our show this year. So
Thank you. Yes.
is there anything about the show that you want to share? Anything at all that you would like to share with people for when what you'll be there, what you'll be doing, or anything at all?
Yeah. So my goal is at the expo is to have Rapillo Creative there and be able to be, engage with others if they want to come around, even vendors, and say, look, hey, look, I'm struggling with this, or I need help with this, or what's a good approach to this, or like, I don't have a lot of money, but I can even steer you in the right direction for things that will help you, because
Yes.
I'm about helping people whether I make a ton of money or not. So if you haven't figured that out yet, but I don't know, there's this servant in me that wants to make people, if their passion's behind their business, I want it to be represented in the way they look. I want them to be like, here's my business card, look at this. Or I want them to be, I showed these guys, it was from a construction company once. I did a video for them, and I had done animation for their logo, and the guy was eating a burrito, and like the video played, and he dropped the burrito and just kept looking at the video. And I was like, I will take that. That is the best day of my life, is that I made someone drop a burrito. And I think when people get back what I create for them, they aren't expecting it. I think they're expecting, people, what they usually give you is the bare bones for, it's this mindset that I don't follow, because I think my heart is more of a artist first. And that lends itself into this empathy for others. And I just want you to come say hi, tell me about your problems. And well, not like Dr. Phil, but like, tell me about your other problems for your business, or like something you might need done. And I travel. So, I mean, even if you're based in New York and I'm based in Jersey now, so I still travel down there for work, and most of the things we can do digitally now, but I always like to see the spaces of my people as well. So it was great to come down to New Vision, or not to New Visions, but to Firefly Hollow, kind of see your place and what you do there, and you meet your ghosts. That was great.
Yeah. Yeah, for those people who don't know where there is a ghost, a protector spirit that lives in the property. So
I'll
yeah,
leave I'll leave off with this. I think like if you really want to elevate your business and present yourself, you know, it not necessarily fake it till you make it, but match your aesthetic with your passion, and it will return for you. Because when people see something that someone spent time on as a representation of themselves, they tend to think, oh, they're willing to invest in themselves. They're thoughtful, which means they might be thoughtful towards me. Or the way
yes,
that you represent your business, in the way that you speak, or in the way that your content is. That's a really psychological thing.
yeah,
So if anybody's looking for something creative, I'm here. I'm not always available, and sometimes I have waiting lists, but I like to take on projects, and because I don't sleep, I get them all done. So that's usually why I'm always busy. And so
yeah,
like
yeah,
at 3 o'clock at night, I'm burning stuff, and that's usually
yeah,
my life now.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Again, guys, everybody, the tickets are going to go on sale up starting July. If you know, or on the site starting July 1st, you'll see, oh, well, that's because of Chris. Chris
Oh
got that website all ready to go for that. But other than that, Chris, we look forward to seeing you in August in person. Come by and stop by and see him, and go and check out his Instagram page and his rapillocreative.com. And if you have anyone that you know is a business owner as well that might be interested in anything that he has to offer, send him that way. So,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. I'm willing to listen to anybody. And there's going to be a new homepage coming to the expo. So I'm building that on the back end, and then we're going to have it take over. But I'm glamorizing that as well, because it's, you know, my brain.
Awesome. I'm
Um,
so excited. Well,
all right.
thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for checking it out, and we will see you guys